Janice is in the house. How you doing? Philippians 3, 7-9. Brother, when you study in Paul's epistles, you have a different mind and things you worry about become less worrisome. As if you don't live in that system, you are not part of the matrix. I love that. Let's look at Philippians 3, 7-9. But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Christ. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ, and be found in him, not having mine own righteousness, which is of the law, but that which is through the faith of Christ, the righteousness which is of God by faith. And you can't stop there, sister. That I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable unto his death, if by any means I might attain unto the resurrection of the dead. He counted every advantage in life that he had before he got saved. He counted it all as dung. He counts just about everything in life now as dung for the most part, compared to the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus. And he suffered the loss of all things, and all that stuff that he lost, it was nothing to him. Dung. That I may win Christ. And when saying win Christ, I think he expounds on that thought. I mean, what does that mean? Does he mean that he's not saved and he's just trying to win over Christ, and maybe Christ will approve of his? There is probably the idea of approval of a quality walk. Is that there may be some of that going on here, but I would suggest the rest of this from 9 to 11, he is articulating exactly all the ways that he would win Christ. In the sense that he would know him better. He would know the power of his resurrection. It's not that he is looking forward to the resurrection. He is, of course, but he wants to experience the fullness of that resurrection life right here, right now. That's what he wants. He wants to know the fullness of that resurrection life, which is why he loves suffering. Because that is when you really feel the power and the fullness of that resurrection life at work in you. And the fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable unto his death. Well, what does that mean? That's an expression of identification. You are able to achieve the fullness of his resurrection life because you were identified with Christ in his death, burial, and resurrection. And then you get to this, if by any means I might attain unto the resurrection of the dead. What does he mean by that? Is he worried that he isn't going to experience the resurrection when the rapture happens? No, of course not. He wants to attain unto the resurrection of the dead. In other words, he wants to experience the fullness of that resurrection life he already has now. That's what he wants in his life.